You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may tread me in the very dirt, but still like dust I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Or are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides. It's like hope springing high. Still, I rise. Do you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes? Shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't take it awful hard. 'Cause I laugh like I got gold mines, digging in my own backyards. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like the air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I am a black ocean leaping and wide. Welling and swelling, I bear in the tides. Leaving behind the nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. Oh, I rise. Oh, I rise. And I said, I rise. I Rise by Maya Angelou.
Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Fort Myers in person and on Zoom, where our mission is to love, grow, and serve. At UUCFM, we are people of many genders and sexuality. Gender diversity is sacred. It's the foundation of our denomination. My name is Jennifer Grant, and I am currently the president of the Board of Trustees and a worship associate. And oh yes, we will rise and we will roll. Maya Angelou's poem, Still I Rise, is a compelling declaration of resilience and triumph over adversity. She beautifully captures the strength and indomitable spirit required to overcome oppression and injustice. Through her words, she emphasizes self-respect, confidence, and the ability to rise above circumstances, no matter how challenging. Speaking of overcoming oppression and injustice, each year on March 31st, the world observes Transgender Day of Visibility to raise awareness about transgender people. It's a day to celebrate the lives and contributions of trans people while also drawing attention to the poverty, discrimination, and violence the community faces. Transgender, two-spirit, intersex, and gender non-conforming people have always been here. They will be here tomorrow. They are among us now, although you may not always know it. We affirm them as an expression of our religion. Trans and non-binary people, we rise with you. I am so excited to share this service with the Reverend Dr. Ronaldo Archer, the man with that amazing, deep, booming voice. You have his bio on the screen, and his bio is also on the order of worship. And for me personally, he has many amazing accomplishments. But I am impressed with his photographic memory. And as many of you know, I am a huge Browns fan. And I want to share with you his NFL history. Ronaldo started working for the Browns as a player development professional under Coach Marty Schottenheimer. When Bill Cowher transferred from the Cleveland Browns to the team that won't be mentioned in this pulpit. No, my God. Ronaldo went with Coach Cowher. During his time in that city, Ronaldo received 2 Super Bowl rings. He went on to work with the Dallas Cowboys, where he received another 3 Super Bowl rings, and he is wearing one of them now. And he has attended 13 Super Bowls and has been the keynote speaker for the NFL Super Bowl breakfast. He remains a die-hard Browns fan, and Ronaldo says, Browns fans are the best. We understand loyalty, faith, fortitude, and resilience. As Maya Angelou says, we will rise. Come all who gather with hearts both heavy and hopeful. Come you who have known struggle and still rise. Come you who have faced obstacles and still dream. Come you who have been told no and have answered that I will. We gather in the spirit of resilience, the resilience of those who have paved the way before us, the resilience of those still forging their path, the resilience that lives in the stories of women, in the voices of people of color, in the courage of LGBTQ+ siblings who stand in their truth. Here in this sacred space, we affirm the strength within us. Here we rise together. Come, let us worship in the spirit of hope and resilience. We light our chalice to honor the spirit of resilience and the strength within us all. We draw inspiration from the words of Maya Angelou, whose poem, Still I Rise, reminds us of the power we hold to overcome adversity. In moments of doubt and challenge, may this light serve as a symbol of our enduring strength and unwavering courage. Just as the flames rise, so do we. Each time we are faced with obstacles, each time we are met with resistance. Just like the moons and like the suns, with the certainty of the tides, just like the hope springing high, still we will rise. Let us hold this light with us and let it shine through our actions and our words as we continue on our journey together, uplifted by the spirit of resilience. Please rise in body or spirit as we state our covenant, which is on the screen. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Please join us in our opening hymn, number 212, We Are Dancing Sarah's Circle, verses 1 and 2.
Well, in honor of Women's History Month, have a word about a very inspirational woman. This woman was born both deaf and blind. Imagine a world of darkness and silence. Try to just close your eyes for a moment. And imagine you have no ability to hear a bird or a breeze going through the trees, living and complete and total silence. She grew up with a family who loved her, but they could not communicate. They could not help her. She would thrash about and she would bite and scratch. And they were determined now, we have to simply put her away in an institution. But another woman read about her story in the newspaper and came to the house and knocked on the door and said, "My name is Anne Sullivan. I think I can help your daughter." She came in to meet this young lady who was still thrashing about and very, very, very uncontrollable. And so she began to touch her and hug her, and she would fight. And she was trying to teach her an alphabet through sign language, through touching, called the hand-finger motion movement in the palm of the hand. And the more she tried to do that, the more this young lady fought her. It went on for months and months and months, till one day the young lady just ran out the house, running in darkness and in silence. And as she's running, she trips. And she falls in a pool of chilled water. And as she touches the water, she remembers the spelling of water and spells it out. And she feels the wind, she spells it out. And she sees the dirt in her hand and she spells it out. And she comes back to the house just in glee, able to communicate finally with her mom and her dad and those around her. She was so determined to turn her disadvantages into advantages, she went on to earn her master's degree in special education. At her graduation, a reporter from Life magazine was there, somewhat cynical, and he asked her through her interpreter, "Helen Keller, is there anything worse than not being able to see?" And Helen, a woman of inspiration, responded, "Yes, there is. To have eyesight like you, but to possess no vision. Without vision, we become like blind men in dark rooms chasing black cats. They're simply are not there. Learn to look with your soul and not with your eyes." That's the story about a dynamic woman, Helen Keller. Oh, could you have my computer, please? Well, It's time to share my message with you. Thank you, my Clevelander. It's amazing. She grew up where I went to college and played football. And one of my roommates, I found out from her, she had a big crush on named Mr. Evans. Good-looking guy, too. I can't blame her. You know, even us men would say, that's a handsome guy right there, you know. Well, again, my name is Dr. Ronaldo Archer. I'm the president of an organization called the Leadership Institute, where I serve as a consultant to 3 U.S. presidents on international issues in Africa. I've been a U.S. envoy to El Salvador with the National Football League, as you heard. And I'm very proud that I'm able to share with you on this Women's History Month, the last Sunday in March. It was at one point a Women's History Week. Now it's a month. I'm the proud dad of 2 children, my daughter Ashley and my son Christopher. My son is an officer with the Space Force trying to get us to Mars. That's his responsibility. And being my son, he has a nickname for me with such love and appreciation. He calls me Baldilocks. The love of children. But that's okay, I have a nickname for him. It's called, heredity. But I see a few gentlemen with my same condition, my phallic challenge, and I'll give you a word from the universe. The universe does not put marble tops on cheap furniture. Keep being a light in the darkness. You know what I found out? The universe only allowed a few perfect heads. The rest had to be covered in shame with hair. Women's History Month is an annual observance to highlight the contributions of women to events in history. March is designated as Women's History Month in the United States because it coincides with the International Women's Day on March 8th and builds upon the momentum of local celebrations of women's history, eventually leading to and recognizing this monthly observance. In 1978, the Education Task Force of the Sonoma County Commission on the Status of Women in Santa Rosa, California, organized a Women's History Week, celebrating during the week of March 8th to coincide with, again, International Women's Day. In 1978, President Jimmy Carter issued a proclamation declaring the week of March as National Women's History Week. In 1987, Congress designated the entire month of March as Women's History Month, following the lead of several U.S. states that had already declared a month-long celebration. So this being the last Sunday of March 2025, I wanted to dedicate my message to the wonderful, beautiful, inspirational, transcendent, metamorphosizing collection of women that have changed our lives. So my message today is about the air, A-I-R, of women. Air is energy to our lungs and vitamins to our body through oxygen. Women have been heir to the lungs of our nations for the world. Napoleon said, the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. A few thoughts. How long can people survive without food? According to scientists, on average 21 days, at max 70 days. How long can people survive without water? On average 3 days, and at max 7 days. How long can people survive without air? On average, 3 minutes. And at max, 5 minutes. If women are the air of the universe, an heir of our nations, how long could we survive without their brilliance, beauty, tenacity? Every great movement in this nation had somewhere in its leadership a woman determined to make life better. The civil rights movement had many great male heroes, Dr. King and Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali and many others, but it was a seamstress who was tired on a bus, sitting in the front row and being told, "This is not for colored people. Sit where you belong." And on that historic day of fatigue, she said the ominous word, "No." And when she sat down, she stood up for a nation and became heir for Martin Luther King's dream. I will say to you today on this wonderful occasion that women have been the heir in my life. I grew up without a father in Cleveland, Ohio, yet it was 3 women who taught me well how to be a man. 3 women who were light in the darkness. 3 women in my life that said, a man can be strong and loving. A man can be a leader and a servant. A man can both learn, lead, and listen. So AIR is my acronym for women today, and the acronym stands for A, attitude, I, inspiration, and R, resilience. The women that I've met in my life embody these 3 elements of transcendence. Attitude, inspiration, and resilience. The first one is attitude. In elementary school in Cleveland, Ohio, my friends, painful memories. I was a severe stutterer. I couldn't put 2 words together without spitting and chomping and all the different machinations and movements that stuttering has. It was so bad that my classmates had a poem about me during recess. They would run in a circle and say, "His name is Ronaldo. He is a retardo. He sits on the steeple, and when he talks, duck, because he spits at the people." I was so ashamed. I was so maligned with that pain that I learned not to speak. I found that it was safer to be silent than to get up and be teased. So I adapted myself to live in a world of silence. And in that gloom, and in that darkness, and in that shame, an elderly white woman stepped into my life. Her name was Mrs. Spears. She had that beehive hairstyle that touched the moon. And she came to the school and told the principal, "I was sent here for your worst students." He said, "I got one for you." I remember I was sitting in the boiler room that day, and she walked in. She said, "Hi, baby. My name is Spears, and I'm here to help you how to talk." And I said, "And you can?" She said, "Baby, I'm from Mississippi, and I'm telling you right now, you have a great future." You know why? Because everything you've been through in your life is a down payment on your destiny, and we gonna learn how to talk well. Okay. And this woman tortured me. Things that I thought were impossible to say, she made me repeat these phrases over and over and over and over again until my tongue seemed to bleed from exhaustion, articulation, and diction. These are the phrases I had to learn in her presence. "The sea ceaseth, and it sufficeth us, and proper preparation prevents poor performance and possibility of punishment. And at dawn, the dawn went down, and are our oars here?" She knew if I could do that, use my mouth, my tongue, my teeth, I could articulate and begin to get a cadence. And she said to me the secret that changed everything for me. She said, "The key for you is that your brain speaks too fast for your mouth and you cannot get the words out. What I want you to do, young man, is to focus on over-enunciating the end consonant sounds of your words. So I want you to talk to me fast. Duck, run, bird free. And she had me, I would go home, Mom, can I have some chicken? What is wrong with you, boy? But what it did for me, it gave me a cadence where I could rest mentally and gain confidence as I began to speak. And then she taught me something in the 4th grade now about this thing called affirmations. And I had to say these every day, once at night and once in the evening. I speak slowly and clearly. I am calm and relaxed. I am articulate. I have good diction. I'm a great speaker. When I got discouraged and I wanted to quit because it was so hard, she said, buck up! Attitude determines your altitude. Attitude. You don't have to be rich, powerful, or great. Attitude is the one thing you can control. And you better have a checkup from the neck up. Attitude. And her favorite phrase to me was this: whether if you think you can or whether if you think you cannot, either way, you're right. Decide, what do you want? And that day I was so inspired by her lesson on attitude that I was determined to be a light to my family. The first one, I graduated valedictorian, became National Speaker of the Year. I built a foundation to help kids like me, and we called it the Tip of the Spear, after Mrs. Spears. And when I was awarded the National Speaker of the Year, I brought her on stage and gave her 24 roses, and I said, the sea ceaseth, and it sufficeth us. And proper preparation prevents poor performance and possible punishment. Thank you for your loving torture. Attitude. I want to read to you one of my favorite quotes about attitude. The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It is more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstance, than failures, than successes, than what other people will think, say, or do. It is more important than appearance, than giftedness or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, a family, or a home. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every minute, every hour, every day regarding the attitude we will embrace for that day. Oh, we cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitudes. The first word in air. That woman taught me. Choose victim or victor, winner or whiner, climber or quitter, contender or pretender, but understand every day you have a choice. Your attitude, she says, determines your altitude. Thank you for that woman. The next letter is inspiration, I. What is inspiration? It is the process of being emotionally, mentally, or spiritually motivated to feel something in order to do something boldly, creative, and brave. The word inspiration means to breathe in. Inspire. The best example of this is my favorite place in the world, Maui, Hawaii. And they call it there aloha. It means the drawing in of one's breath and the sharing of another, that the entire air that we are part of belongs to all of us. Queen Liliuokalani is known to have said, aloha is to learn what is not said, to see what cannot be seen, and to know the unknowable. She said, aloha is the essence of what it means to be a woman. to learn what is not said, to see what cannot be seen, and to know the unknowable. I can't tell you how many times being in Africa for 2 years or being in El Salvador, going through some difficult times, my mother would reach out to me and say, "You're struggling." I said, "Mom, you're 10,000 miles away. How do you know?" "I carried you, boy. I can feel it." She could hear what was not said, she could see what wasn't seen, and she could know the unknown because of this sensitivity, this esoteric, existential, Aristophanes, Euripides, Cleisthenes, and Pericles that says, "I'm a woman. I just know." Another way to interpret aloha is an energy exchange that given and receiving of positive energy, of life-giving breath, of possibility. Here's a great example of someone I would consider to embody inspiration. In 1976, an amazing American icon won the gold medal in the decathlon at the Montreal Olympics, setting a world record with a score of 8,618 points, never to be topped to this day. This person was considered to be an all-American hero and the greatest athlete in the history of the world. This Olympic victory led him to fame and numerous endorsements and appearances. He became one of the first people to smile on the cover of the Wheaties box. He became a spokesman for great causes, a motivational speaker, a sports commentator, and a television personality, and a guest appearance on hundreds of shows. With everything to lose, facing possible rejection. In 2015, this all-American man, the embodiment of American masculinity, publicly came out as a transgendered woman. From Bruce Jenner to Caitlyn Jenner. He told Diane Sawyer in an exclusive interview on a 2-hour edition of ABC, "I've been a woman all my life. I wore my mom's dresses as a kid and I loved it. I put on her makeup and her wigs. I understood I was a girl trapped in a boy's body, but I could never tell anybody. I suffered in silence. And now with everything to lose, facing possible rejection, my name is now Caitlyn Jenner." And she became the inspiration for millions around the world. That she said these words, I'll never forget, "It is better to be a true original than a cheap copy of somebody else." Inspiration. To boldly go where no person has gone before. To risk everything to be your true best self. And she opened the door for many more to be comfortable in their own skin and to realize I either stand for something or I fall for anything. Thank you, Caitlyn Jenner, for being an inspiration to us all. Attitude, inspiration, and the last one is resilience. What is resilience? It is that dynamic quality that allows people to be knocked down by the adversities of life and come back stronger than before, rather than letting the difficulties, traumatic events, or failure overcome them and drain their resolve and hope. Highly resilient people find a way to change course, emotionally heal, and continue to move forward toward their dreams and their goals. I mentioned 3 women taught me how to be a man. The first that you heard was Mrs. Spears. The last two, as I close my message with you, was my grandmother and my mom. You see, I'm biracial. My family has German heritage and Cuban. My grandmother was fully German, and my grandfather was fully Cuban. What a freaking combination. Germans are austere, wunderbar, Fräulein der Deutschland, hard, linear, focused. And Cubans are, Gloria a Dios, Cristo, mucho gusto, salsa, yeah. Papi, papi. We used to have Wiener Schnitzel with salsa. Crazy combination. You know what? And I'm the embodiment of both. I can be super serious. Ask my kids. I can be very stern and stout. But man, I can salsa with the best of them, kayak, swim, yell, scream with the Browns win, which is once every 10 years. So I'm fully German and I'm fully Cuban. Now my grandmother came from a little town called Bernkastel-Kues in Germany. She was very tall and very, very white with blonde hair, green eyes. She was so tall and skinny and white, our nickname for her was French Fry. My grandfather was the polar opposite. He was a big, burly, black Cuban who worked in the sugarcane fields. He was so big and black, we called him Charcoal Hamburger. They both migrated to Cleveland, Ohio, and grandmom and grandpa, hamburger and French fry met, and folks, they made a happy meal. They had 7 McNuggets and lived the American dream until one fateful day. Now, our country has evolved. It has grown significantly, but back in the day of my grandparents, it was in certain states illegal for a white woman and a black man to be married. And where we're from, Ohio, it wasn't illegal, but it was socially unacceptable. So grandpa had to pretend he was my grandmother's driver and drive her to work to Woolworths where she was a manager, and he would leave her and say, "Have a good day now, I'll see you back in 5. Her coworker said, "Oh, your driver is so loving and kind." She says, "You have no idea." 7 kids, built their first house in a place called Buckeye. My grandfather, a man of tremendous pride, said to my grandmother, "Enough of us hiding. We are Americans. We pay our taxes. We have children. It's time for us to come out of the closet." It was their wedding anniversary, and he took grandma to her favorite restaurant in downtown Cleveland called the Hofbrauhaus. Remember that, don't you? Absolutely. All right now. Wiener Schnitzel, Sauerbraten, Strudel, Spätzle, and white asparagus soup. Oh, that was good stuff, man. So they had their food and they're celebrating life and they're walking out for the first time, arm in hand. And this one guy who saw it, just couldn't handle it. He walked up to my grandmother, ignoring my grandfather, and said to her, "You're beautiful." You're a little bit drunk. "Why would you be a nigger lover? Why would you love a big black nigger like this?" My grandfather, being Latin, had a temper. He took his fist, went back to Cuba, came up through Florida, shortcut in Pennsylvania, and met the man's jaw in Cleveland, Ohio. Unfortunately, broke the man's neck. Yeah. Folks, I wish I could have been there to tell my grandfather, it's not what people call you, it's what you respond to. Nobody can ride your back unless it is bent. A soft answer turns away much wrath. Just walk away. But he didn't. He was convicted of attempted murder, went to the worst prison in Ohio. How many remember the movie Shawshank Redemption? That's where he was. It's called Mansfield Reformatory, and that's where he did his time. It hit the newspaper. Grandma got fired from her job, but being a German woman of resolve and resilience, she didn't complain. She worked as a domestic. She cleaned toilets. She had 7 kids to feed. She simply refused to give in. She was resilient. She was determined, and she raised her 7 kids with pride and dignity, not ashamed. And here's the worst part about it. In her German culture, when you do something to embarrass the family, like marrying an African Cuban guy, they shunned her. They turned their backs on her. And when she was in great need, they had a funeral in Germany. They put all her belongings in a casket, dug up the ground, and buried her. She was no longer a person. She was all alone, raising 7 kids. Never complained, not once. Never blamed anybody, not once. Believed in the goodness of America in spite of circumstances. And my mother was the oldest. She had to leave school to help work to take care of the other 6 brothers and sisters. My mother was able to get a home and brought all the kids into her new home. And my mom had an 8th grade education. And what I remember about my mother, who looks like Elizabeth Taylor, by the way, half Cuban, half German, just a knockout, gorgeous-looking woman, was a model for many years. I would wake up in the morning by my bedside, stacks of books. She made me read about Adam Clayton Powell, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and I had to do book reports for her. I was a great football man. I was so good at football, I took notes on me when I played. I knocked folk out and helped them back up again. And Mom said to me, football is your hobby, education is your life. I became a scholar because of her. She turned me on to the beauty of learning. And I became so successful. I put her back through school. She got her master's degree. My sister got a master's degree. My cousins, I put everybody through college. And in spite of our circumstances, my grandmother's resilience and my mother's determination turned me into a man who's built 5 leadership institutes, has served 3 U.S. presidents, took my son on Air Force One with me as we served and went to Africa. He was sitting in a presidential chair, wearing a presidential jacket, eating presidential M&Ms, which he's supposed to save. What am I saying to you? One woman with attitude, one woman with inspiration, one woman with resilience can change generations. Do we have that, what I need back there? Okay, not yet. Let me close with this message. We're almost done. Don't give a Black Baptist preacher a microphone, I'm sorry. It's dangerous, baby, it's dangerous. My mom said, it's reverend. You put the end there, never end. This woman served the least of these in the worst place in the world. She was ridiculed. She was put down. She was misjudged. She wrote in her last book that for 25 years, she did not feel the presence of the divine in her life. She felt alone and abandoned and empty, but still, she was air, inspiration, and resilience. And she wrote these words as I close my message, and I'll give you her name at the end. People are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives, but be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and frank, people may cheat you, but be honest and frank anyway. What you spend years building, some could destroy overnight, but build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, some may be jealous of you, but be happy anyway. The good you do today, people can forget tomorrow, but do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough, but give the world your best anyway. You see, in the final analysis, it's between you and the universe. It was never between you and them anyway. Signed, Mother Teresa. My final thoughts are this. Oh, I love family. I love family. It's everything to me. And I was invited to a special birthday party last night. Crazy, wild strippers. No, I'm just kidding. It was a nice birthday. Celebrating the life of a woman from Cleveland, 85 years old. The mother of my great friend, Jennifer. And so at the last minute, taking pictures, I did a quick video. Stand up, young lady, stand up with your pretty self. Turn around so they can see the greatness that's you. 85. Can I tell you something? Papa, if she wasn't married, I hit on her. So please stand. Jennifer, stand with your mother, please, for a moment. Please. Stand with your mother. Please. Stand with your mother. Do what I said, woman. Okay, turn around and face the audience. This, mama, is for you. It's just friendship, Pops.
Thank you. It was so sweet.
I did this because I love beautiful, brilliant, resilient women.
Well, thank you so much.
Which you are. Happy 85 wonderful years and many, many more to come your way. Okay? You're welcome. I close with you in a bittersweet time in my life. I'm 62. My mom is 81, and she has severe Alzheimer's. The long goodbye, it's been 7 years, but thank goodness she knows me still until sundown. She has sundowners. So during the day, I'm her wonderful son that she's so proud of. She always asks me, "What happened to your hair?" And my sister and I, we love her so much. She lives in Beechwood, Ohio with her sister. But then something happens as I close this final thing. The sun goes down. She walks up to me. "I'm so glad I married you. You're sexy." And I asked the neurologist, "What do I do?" It's my mother. So guess what we do? And this is enough for her. I play her favorite artist, Johnny Mathis, and we dance. And I dip her, and we dance. The power of women.
I'd like to do, for you all to join us in singing hymn number 169, How Appropriate, We Shall Overcome. breath, drawing in the strength of those who have come before us, those who have faced adversity and still stood tall. Let us exhale the burdens we carry, making space for renewal, for hope, for quiet strength. In this silence, we hold the resilience of all who have walked difficult paths, of women who have risen beyond oppression, of people of color who have forged ahead despite injustice, of LGBTQ+ souls who have claimed their truth with courage. Resilience is not just survival, it is the quiet, steady beating of the heart, the whisper of determination in the face of doubt, the light that flickers but does not go out. As we enter the silence, may we listen for that light within ourselves, and may we draw from it the strength to continue. With the sounds of our community around us, let us be still together. Blessed be. As we honor the theme of resilience, I want you to think about an area of your personal life, our congregational life, or our country, and share a stone of resilience. This could be an event where you have already overcome adversity or a challenge. Or your stone of resilience could be a challenge you are currently facing, or the congregation is facing, or our nation is facing. I will place the first 3 stones. Throughout history, women have been the backbone of every major movement dealing with fairness, equality, justice, and peace. Being the last Sunday of Women's History Month, we celebrate the brilliance, the resiliency, and the tenacity of women. For women, we will rise together. And one woman I want to honor for this Women's History Month and on International Transgender Day of Visibility is in honor of Sarah McBride, the at-large representative for Delaware and the country's first openly transgender member of Congress. A committee chairperson called Representative McBride to speak as the gentleman from Delaware, then recognized her as Mr. McBride. Her response was calm as she refused to rise to the debate. She was shot with words, she was killed with hatefulness, but like the air, she rose. We will rise together with love with our transgender friends and family. And for the resilience of the future of our congregation. While our congregation may have been knocked down by adversities, I believe UUCFM will come back stronger than ever before. We will rise together. Thank you, John. That was so beautiful. And I will share one final stone of resilience for all that remains in our hearts. May our prayers be heard, our hearts restored, and may we still rise. As we come together in the spirit of generosity, we are reminded that those gifts extend beyond our financial contributions. Each of us carry unique talents and valuable time that can greatly enrich our community. Whether it's lending a helping hand, sharing a skill, or offering a kind word, your contributions in every form are threads that weave the fabric of our shared experiences. One of the ways of our spiritual values in the world is by making them real through the form of financial contribution. I invite you to enliven your commitment to this community and be generous in giving to the support of this work of this congregation. Every month, we also donate funds to a local community organization who shares our values. Our community sharing partner this month is the Unitarian Universalist Association Disaster Fund. When the winds of Ian hit our congregation, the UUA Disaster Fund was there for us as we dealt with adversity and the aftermath of Ian. With their funds, we were able to rise. In the aftermath of the California fires, it would be a wonderful way for us to pay forward with supporting this charity so that the Unitarian Universalist congregations in California can rise up from the ashes. Your order of worship has information about Breeze, which is also on the screen, our new online giving platform, which will make it much easier for you to exercise your generosity. Be sure to use the envelope if you want your contribution to go to our congregation. All undesignated contributions will be received for the Unitarian Universalist Association Disaster Fund. During the offering, please place your connection card and offering in the bag or follow the link in the chat box. The offering will now be given graciously and received gratefully.
Though the night
now, please join me. Please rise in body and spirit for our words of gratitude. By the work of our hands and the work of our hearts, our love is made new. May we be grateful for all that is given and grateful for all that is shared. And please join us in our words to extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of warmth or of commitment, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Our congregation will find a way to become a beacon for those who are marginalized. We will rise. Please join me in the we will rise. Our congregation will find ways to become financially stable through community partnerships. We will rise. Our nation will find ways to heal together in unity and love. We will rise. The world will recognize, support, and love transgender and non-binary people, not just one day of the year, but every day of the year. We will rise. And one day, maybe in 2028, a brilliant, resilient, and tenacious woman will break the glass ceiling and become the 48th President of the United States. And we will rise! Peace will one day flourish in the world. We will rise. Our beautiful blue planet will heal when we as humans recognize and restore Mother Earth. We will rise. And you may be seated. And we are doing something a little bit different. We are having our annual meeting right after our service. And I'd love for all of you to attend. If you are here as a guest, you're more than welcome to attend. All of the votes, ever since COVID, we do the votes online. The votes are in. And it also means that it is my last day of being the president of this congregation. Woo! So we look forward to seeing you next Sunday. Go in peace.